Hello and welcome to the UK Firm Podcast. A little bit something different this week. I want to introduce you to a new team member we've got here at Cockerill Co. Martyn Cohen is going to bring a whole new wealth of knowledge that is a different part of the business that we're going to focus on. We're going to look at recruitment, managing people, pricing, business strategy, many other things. Martyn brings a wealth of corporate knowledge from some of the bigger brands he's worked with, and we really love to welcome him to the Cockerill Co family. Sit back, enjoy the show. Do not forget to hit the subscribe button somewhere around this page. Back by popular demand. Drum roll, please. We have Martyn Cohen from MC Consultancy back again for more. Martyn,
Sucker for punishment.
Why are you back?
Well, a bit of news on this one. Pleased to share that as of now, moving forward, I'll have the joy of working with Cockerill Co and supporting their customers or our joint customers together as we go into next year.
Why on God's earth have you decided to do that? Why are you joining the madhouse?
Well, someone made me come on this podcast about 6 months ago. Got me interested enough to come to some of your events, which I really enjoyed. And I think the biggest thing for me is just lots of alignment in terms of kind of ways of thinking, same logic and reasoning behind why we do what we do, wanting to make a difference, wanting to help people. Obviously through various conversations, that's led us to where we are now, which is looking to join forces and try and bring our kind of talents and experience to try and help people together.
Love that. So how long is it since you opened the doors officially of MC Growth Consultancy?
March, April, what's that, about 8-9 months-ish?
And what have you been, for the uninitiated, like what have you been doing, over those months? What's it, a Monday to Friday look like, ish?
So I think the backstory for anyone that missed kind of the previous podcast was a redundancy at the start of the year. So I'd been working at Headlam in a director role looking after sales for them. And redundancy, lots of people in the industry will be aware, they've restructured a lot of things over the course of the last couple of years. And it was a bit unexpected, to be fair. As much as I kind of expected some cuts, didn't necessarily expect one personally because of kind of the performance. Weird situation to be in when you find yourself redundant. You probably start asking a lot of questions, a little bit of panic sets in. And I was approached by a couple of different businesses around working for them. Didn't necessarily feel like the right kind of long-term move, if that makes sense. So a lot of my background has been in fairly large roles in big organizations, so Headlam, Carpetright, lots of stuff across flooring. Wanted to stay in the industry, but wasn't necessarily seeing the right roles. And rather than kind of turn down those opportunities, I talked to the MDs, CEOs in those businesses about doing consultancy for them, with the original intention probably of I'll do this kind of while I look. And quite quickly, kind of came away from the first few days of doing that and had a real buzz that I probably hadn't had in my career for a little while. Really felt like I'd made an impact and a positive difference. So it wasn't necessarily stuff that I found massively challenging or stretching or new. It was kind of repeating some of the things that I'd done in the past, but seeing the difference that I was making to smaller businesses, and actually a bit more tangible, kind of what's the difference that's making in people's lives, if that makes sense. Bit more tangible to be able to feel that impact on the individual in smaller businesses. So did some work for those businesses, initially with one where I've got a retail business with quite a few stores, got quite ingrained with them, made a difference to their buy-in, to their systems. They're getting a record ever performance and margin at the moment. But over time, I probably started to feel kind of, okay, there's less to go after here because it's a smaller business. And obviously the idea with consultancy being to go in, kind of make that difference and focus on the high impact stuff. So that through various industry events, going to things like Clerkenwell, Flooring Show, INDX in Birmingham and things like that, you get into conversations with a wide network of contacts across the industry, and quite often it would either be kind of what you're up to these days, or spoke to so and so and heard you doing this, or seen stuff on LinkedIn, those sort of things. And that led to some other conversations with other customers that have come up, and done things across retail, supported a few commercial businesses that are growing, kind of reached a bit of a cap as to how far they can go on their own. And you often get to this kind of scale of 2 or 3 million quid, and suddenly you need more systems and people, and need a bit more support. A little bit with some newer manufacturers, a bit of all sorts really, but all across the flooring industry.
If you had 2 or 3 magic moments over the last year, what are they? You don't have to give the exact detail, but what 2 or 3 magic moments?
Um, I think one of the first ones was just with one of those commercial businesses, as to kind of perhaps getting them to kind of realise that there were certain bits between where they are now and where they want to get to, and that included kind of needing to scale up their people. The original conversation we had was about business development. Ironically, the business development probably almost went too well because they've got more than they can handle. Um, they were kind of sharp enough to realise that and kind of register and go, well, actually, we can't take all this work on. So the conversations then kind of led on to what the steps are for them to be able to take that extra work on and do so in a controlled fashion where it's not kind of super high risk or anything. So that's definitely one of them, and kind of seeing the value that adds for them. I think kind of putting some new systems and processes in for the larger retailer that I've been working with. They have quite a lot of franchises, so it's a lot of smaller parts of the organisation. So effectively, are dealing with kind of 20 business owners rather than just the main business owner. And I'm very much in that camp of kind of like million miles an hour. I want to land everything yesterday, and never really satisfied with what I've achieved, really. But quite nice within that business, kind of going around those franchises and having the franchisees come and say, wow, this has made more difference to our business than we've seen in X amount of time. So that feedback's always really nice. Again, it's back to that bit of just seeing that you made a difference and had an impact in people's lives, really.
And what is the biggest surprise or the biggest challenge you faced when doing this, apart from the redundancy bit? Like what have you really struggled with, or what was the surprise that you didn't expect?
Um, it's a strange one, really, because I think I've always unfortunately had a few different redundancies in my career with restructures, company administrations, all sorts, and that's probably made me fairly risk averse, which is quite contrary to going off and being self-employed, really, because it's clearly is a bit of a gamble. Where's the next paycheck or whatever you want to call it coming from? And um, the bit for me is, weirdly, it's never actually felt like a huge risk, because there's always been degree of those conversations in the pipeline. Like I say, the nice bit, each of those kind of corporate events, or well, flooring industry events rather than corporate events that I've been along to, kind of went to them probably with the agenda of just catching up with kind of mates, ex-colleagues and what have you across the industry. And things have always come out of those sort of events, which I think is quite nice, really, because it's a bit of I'm very much kind of walk the walk rather than talk the talk. Show it through your performance, and you see different people in your career that are good at kind of saying the right things, and you're kind of waiting for the action and don't
I've
necessarily
seen
always
them
see it.
before. I've seen them before.
I've seen it a few times, and it's I don't have a lot of patience for it, if I'm honest. Uh, and you kind of think sometimes the world can feel little bit unjust with people that are good at kind of saying the right things at the right time. And actually, it has felt like as I've gone through the course of this year, that actually that reputation I had with the industry, or people that I've worked with, or been involved with suppliers or other businesses along the way, probably showed me just how much kind of respect or value people held in what I did in those relationships. Because kind of a lot of the work I've had through the course of this year, realistically, the majority of it has kind of fallen into my lap, and rather than me going out actively seeking it, which I think, other than the effort of perhaps having to go do that, I think that's I don't know if it's surprising, I suppose, like reassuring as much as anything, but also kind of, in a way, a bit of a pleasant surprise that what I'd always seen as very risky hasn't felt it, if that makes sense.
No, yeah, I've got a biased view of risk factor. I think so. I've been self-employed since 19, so I just feel it's just about backing yourself, and something always comes up. Something always comes up. Unless you like watching Homes Under the Hammer, you can always get something sorted.
Yeah,
Anyway, Cockerill and Co. What you're going to bring to the table? Like, what predominantly are you going to impact? Well, new and existing customers. What are the categories? Because we cover a big spectrum as it is, but with you on board, I think we're going to cover most areas now. So,
yeah. Yeah,
um,
I think the existing customers that I've got, there generally seems to be an appetite to continue that, and definitely in a couple of cases, I think really see the value of what Cockerill Co adds onto that, if that makes sense, in terms of the events and the network, etc. So I think that's really positive. From my side, and conversations with yourself and Sarah have always probably been around where do we sit in terms of different skill set and all the rest of it. There's probably some similarities between you and me in terms of lack of patience, and,
just a little bit.
and some of those things that we might have to be mindful of. But I think, yeah, my background's fairly corporate. Some really big 2, 3, 600 million pound organisations, etc. But the principles of kind of how I work has always been through people. It's always been about people, and getting results in everything that I do. Whether it's recruitment, whether it is in direct involvement with people, but you kind of go, anything that drives a performance is always through individuals and team, and getting them to perform at their best. I've had through my career more than my share of everything that relates to people and HR and all that sort of stuff. So, starting at the beginning with recruitment, um, probably not that many people that have recruited the volume of individuals into flooring industry and sales roles that I
How
have.
many interviews do you reckon you've done?
I think the other thing I've always been attracted to in the corporate career is kind of problems and having to go in and solve and fix something. And generally, so I'm based in the south, and anything in and around London comes with humongous headaches normally, loads of people issues, recruitment's challenging, all the rest of it. So every business I've been into, the first thing I've always had to fix is recruitment. And it will absolutely be into the hundreds of people that I've recruited. Trying to kind of roughly do the maths on this the other day, and I think I got well, I'm definitely north of about 300. How far north, I don't know. And interview wise, therefore probably into the thousands realistically. And
How many have you sacked?
yeah, a few, not into the thousands. That's good. Probably not into the hundreds. Yeah, no, definitely my
They
share.
might have been recruited properly in the first place. That's why. So,
There is that, yeah, and you kind of, you're right. Recruit people right, train people right, give people the right support and experience and all that sort of thing. Create the right culture and empower people to do a good job. You do those, you keep hold of them. You can't legislate for people doing stupid shit. It happens, and fairly proud of the fact actually that when it comes to performance management, I've very rarely had to get all the way through to like dismissing someone. You know, when someone does something stupid, they go stealing from the till or whatever, it's just like game over, isn't it? There's not much debate there. But I haven't had to actually take someone or that many people through a full like performance management process. And the bit for me has always been honest conversations along the way. So you know, if someone's getting that far that they're going through to the end of that without realizing that it's probably not the right job for them, I take that quite personally because I think I've probably done something wrong there, then haven't I, realistically? So generally, you know, honest conversations along the way with people, and people self-select, realize they're not happy, or tell you what support they need, and you give it them, and you know, get them back on the rails and back on track, really. So yeah, more than my share, but probably more for stupid stuff. I've been in, you know, in retail for a long time, and retail's been pretty uh, traumatic times over the last decade or so, hasn't it? Lots of redundancies, businesses closing, restructures, mergers. Pretty much done all of them and all of the things that come underneath those things, business takeovers and consultations, chupies, all sorts of weird and wonderful people stuff. So all of that probably comes with, back to your original question, I guess a lot of exposure to helping businesses get the best out of the people, but also dealing with any of the mess that can come with that, really. And it's, you know, it's not easy. And the bit that I find with smaller businesses is often what you've got is individuals that started those businesses, back to your point of they had something about them, they had a drive and a determination, they've been really good at certain stuff and it's made them successful. The problem is with success comes kind of more challenges than people have been taught or learned how to deal with along the way. So sometimes people's businesses almost get bigger than them or get over reliant on them. And there's only so many hours in the week, and you've got to start putting systems and other people in place to scale up. So I think my experience probably lends itself to some of those businesses that are kind of growing and getting bigger. And that was the logic of the name of the business that I set up for myself in terms of growth consultancy, because the conversations that I was having with people that wanted support was around, we're looking to grow these sales or this part of the business, or we want to grow, or we want to grow this big and then sell the business, those sort of conversations. And there's usually a lot of kind of barriers and blockers between I'm here and I want to get over here. And therefore, as a result, uh, that experience and that depth of experience and all these weird and wonderful scenarios that come with it means that I've been through that. I've seen businesses that get things right. I've definitely seen businesses that get things wrong as well. And you know, you learn from that, don't you? You take the best and the worst and kind of go, well, I don't want to repeat what I saw go wrong in this company. And here's how I do it differently. So the advantage of lots of different businesses through the career is you kind of pick up all the best and worst bits, really. So I think there's definitely that around people, around growth. There's some other areas that are a little bit unique. So at Carpetright, I looked after their fitting operations and their digital journey through to in the home stuff. And yeah, with that came probably one of the biggest third party installer workforces in the UK. Well, is the biggest realistically. So all the complexities and understanding how blooming difficult it can be to have that third party relationship, understand the fitter side, understand the business side. And in more recent years, all the joyful HMRC headaches that come with that. It's a really complex topic that I'm yet to see many businesses that actually properly understand it
Yeah,
and have properly covered themselves. I think it's some fairly unique exposure that my background brings to understanding kind of buy-in, purchasing power, the right sort of pricing, and similar in a consultancy fashion. So far, I'm yet to work with a business where I haven't looked at their buy-in and been able to add real tangible value to the bottom line. Even in one business where their buy-in was particularly impressive, to be fair, it's probably amongst the best I've seen, but there was still significant opportunity to go after. And that's just having someone that kind of knows that detail and where to target it. So that's probably a little bit unique as well, just because of the background that of what I've done in the past, really, as much as anything, you know.
yeah. No, we find that even I was saying before we start this podcast, just having the right relationships that some people don't have is spotting numbers on sheets that's like it's 20 grand there, 25 grand here. You know, suddenly it's like, well, that was just one conversation. It saved 20 grand. It's like, well,
Yeah.
it's half, not half an hour's work, but it kind of is. You know, we've saved the client
It-
this complete integrity. It's like, well, okay, so now we move on to the next thing. And if they hadn't had our support, well, they would have just gone with the original figure as such.
yeah. It's
Um,
easy, and we're all, you know, people are often pretty busy, pretty relentless in their business, aren't they? When it's smaller teams, hands on everything. Um, it's easy to miss those things, but also it can cost thousands, tens of thousands straight to the bottom line, realistically, can't it? And it's a lot of people just don't realize that they're missing it to some extent.
yeah. So we can help businesses scale and grow with recruitment, hiring, managing the people when they're already in the door. We can look at prices, VAT elements, covered quite a lot. What else do you think we'll be covering the last bit of this year and then next year, Martyn? Is there anything else you feel that we're going to bring to the party that's going to keep moving us forward?
Yeah. Again, not wasn't necessarily planned, but I have had a lot of clients and even some people that weren't necessarily clients, but they were just contacts from within the industry that have asked me to solve their recruitment problems, and that has generally come off the back of my relationship with different people through the flooring industry, but also again knowing that I have those contacts, that I have a lot of experience within recruitment. So it was never really intended necessarily to offer a recruitment service, but it kind of ended up being in demand, I guess. So something that similar for you guys, it's not been a service that you've offered, but you almost kind of go, well, actually, it's a byproduct probably of being able to you know, add some value for people, and quite happy in a consultancy fashion to advise and support people. I've helped people kind of set up the paperwork, understand. You know, I was with some clients the other week that were kind of like, "Can you come in and do the interviews with us because we've not done them before?" You know, suddenly finding themselves X number of years down the line needing to recruit. But in other cases, it's just go get me the best person that's going to walk in the door and be able to hit the ground running and do this, that, and the other. And you know, do you know people? Yeah, you know, won't ever go kind of forcing people from one place that they don't want to be, or go to a place they don't want to be. But by the same token, always try to keep in touch with people throughout my career, and so you've usually got a sense of, okay, this person's not happy or this person's available. and then often bringing the two together to get someone the best result. The other thing that's come up, and again, more of a byproduct, I think, has been two or three clients that have come to me and said, I want help selling my business. And there's been two parts of that, I guess. One being, in order to maximize the value of my business, I know I need to do certain things. What does that look like? And can you help me get there? And so the consultancy might be 2 or 3 years of preparing the business for sale, and then ultimately finding them a buyer, etc. In other cases, in one case, someone looking to retire, can you find me a buyer for the business? So those sort of things come along, and it's kind of generally for most people, it'll be a once in a lifetime or maybe twice in a lifetime sort of situation. So it's not something that people have been through before. Um, I've seen mergers and acquisitions, the paperwork, the valuation, all these sort of things. So again, between that and the contacts in the industry, I think there's something there that probably brings another angle on top of what Cockerill Co offers. And then I think, quite frankly, there's a lot of things, as I said at the start, where we just kind of overlap with similar sort of ethos, similar principles about how we want to help people, and kind of buy into to all the events, and in particular just the network and the community that Cockerill Co creates. I think is a powerful thing, and it's very much one of those where people have got to, I think, get hands on, see it for themselves, and understand it. But actually, that piece, and as I described with that network and keeping in touch with people, I think that kind of network where people work together, and um, there lots of experience in my career, but you're never going to know the answers to everything. You're always going to need help from someone at some stage, and actually having those networks, those relationships, and going, right, I've got a problem here, not sure how to solve it, but actually I probably know someone that does, and I can probably pick up the phone and provide that
Uh,
solution. And I think that's what you get within Cockerill and Co's community as well, of just people that have the right sort of mindset, want to work together and be successful, don't see everyone in the world as a threat. Actually, we can work together and all be successful together, which I think is very underrated, powerful thing, to be honest.
I think that is. I think that's our most underrated sort of superpower. Where obviously some of the stuff isn't free, like the podcast and things like that. But the low entry point is a couple £100 a month. But the point of the matter is, you've got a whole group of people, probably circa of 100 people total,
Yeah,
that are of the opinion, who, not how. And it's like, well, who can help me to do the how, rather than just
yeah,
trying to figure out myself. And it's like, well, is that worth a couple of grand a year? Just, I mean, and some of the hows have been ultra quick. Even like the ones we are talking about before, where someone saved 20 grand. Say, well, save 20 grand and it costs you £200 a month. So how
yeah,
many years has that got you? But then you've also got all the meetups, the trips away, the all the other stuff, the bank of documents. If you need a document there, well, how long would that take you to generate? And that's the thing. It's really like under. Well, I'm trying to sell it now, but it's not. I'm not doing that. It's like just undersold, because we can say, oh, you get a bank of documents, you get to meet up 3 monthly, but really the value piece is like the people that you're meeting up with, not that,
yeah.
oh, you get a quarterly meetup, brilliant tea and coffee. Yeah, but if it's a load of idiots in a room, that's no use. But I can guarantee it's not.
Yeah, and I think, I mean, the bit I'd say with that, because like you say, people listen to you and go, "Oh, it's a sales pitch," because naturally that's the perception, and we're all skeptical of
Oh, it's the
things and all
Clue
the
Club.
rest of it. But but I think, my answer to those sort of things, and same through my career, I did a big transformation project in a previous business that was quite a big shift, and it was adapting how the business worked to the changing shift in the marketplace, more digital, more over the phone, more in the home, all these sort of shifts that have happened in the last kind of 10, 15 years, but obviously escalated during COVID. And one of the things that we did is, after we did the original trial group, rather than me talking about it, I got people from the team to talk about it. And I think the same, I would say, with people that have dealt with Cockerill Co. Actually, to some extent, you might shoot me for this, but don't speak to you, don't speak to me, speak to someone else that's already involved and does it, because actually there's no agenda there. There's no, not being paid to do it, but actually speak to them and see what value they get out of it, because that's the true testimony, isn't it? And similar, a potential client this morning, I kind of said, look, go read recommendations on my LinkedIn. There's loads on there. I ask people for a review, but I don't, I don't put words in the mouth or tell them what to say. I'm just put on there what you think. And same with reviews with Cockerill Co. When you read through it, phone that person up or speak to that person, see if it's legit. Because actually, it'd be their words, it's their compliments, it's what they've found and felt from having that experience. And I think there are certain things, and particularly in an industry that's quite siloed, where lots of people kind of like work on their own or in small teams, etc. I think it's quite easy to kind of like question and not believe what's going on somewhere else. But if you
Yeah.
speak to those involved, horse's mouth, isn't it? And it's that walk the walk thing again that I referred to earlier. Like, the talk is cheap, but actually when it's from someone that doesn't have an agenda, then says what it says on the tin, doesn't it? Same as Trustpilot, Google reviews, all that stuff we look at online. It's not really an agenda behind someone putting that on there, unless they wanted a bit of a rant or to slag someone off.
Yeah, let's put it bluntly, when we kind of met, I said, just come up to Darlington, no questions, come and have a sit,
Yeah, yeah.
We did throw you off a building with a bungee rope.
Don't think you warned me about that one, otherwise I might have avoided the drive.
Yeah. So we did do that, which was planned. Everyone did it, but but that's what we like to do, is just, well, come to the office, come to the training centre, and make an assumption yourself. And I would hope
Yeah.
99.9% of people that come here, all right, I get it now. I get it now. It's not just
Yeah.
fluff and unicorns. It's no, we're here to help. So we've gone through all the services you're going to do and move forward. What is there any other bits we haven't covered, mine, apart from sort of just how to contact you or whatever? What else is there that we need to?
Probably, but nothing that's jumping to mind. As I say, I think there's a lot of stuff that is the routine overlap of just what you guys do really well. I think the agenda from both sides is very similar. Very much in the camp of we want to get shit done. If I can't add value, and even to kind of one of the clients that I've worked with, I've actively gone back to them and said, right, you're going to pay me less now because you don't need as much of my time. I don't want to be kind of plodding along, not making a difference. I want to make a difference every single day that I do, and add real value. And I think kind of the ethos and the principle is the same there. The experience I've had through my career has always been kind of hands-on, make sure things working, make sure I stay close to to any touch point where the customer's involved or that influences the output for the customer. It's about real world stuff, isn't it? Not just kind of talk and direct to this or done this at that level or whatever. It's about actually getting the result and making things happen, really. So
I think
yeah.
I probably put like that. That's obviously why we've come together as well, because every year we have a clear out of our groups, that if we've got serial non-action takers that talk a great game but then don't, and we're not talking about big things. We're not talking about like opening 10 shops, or just simply not turning up to a Zoom call, not turning up to training, not putting their impact into the group, not sharing their experience, even like quarterly or 6 monthly.
Yeah,
If
what's
they
the point?
go like, undercover, financially, it's a terrible decision for us because they're paying. And we're like, thanks very much, but we've not even seen you. But every first of the year, anyone that's in that bracket just gets chucked out. And that might be a bit harsh, it might be that, but it impacts the rest of the group that are showing up weekly, showing up to help,
Yeah.
talk to each other, just wanting to see everyone do better. And that's the guys, just one man or woman in a van, or if it's up to the guys that have got a chain of shops, or commercial, it makes no odds to us. As long as they're making a tiny impact to someone, that's
Yeah.
all.
If they're getting value, there's purpose and value in doing it. And I think, like you say, financially, you can look at that and go, that's madness because you're costing yourself money or whatever. Yeah, maybe it is. I think there's also a counter argument that kind of says, when there is so much value in that community and that brand and in adding value, if you've got a bunch of people that aren't getting value because they don't invest the time or the commitment, then I actually think in the longer term it makes sense. And similar, I guess my mindset through it through this year, there are clients that I could have done more work with, and I told them no because I say, it's not the right time. There are cheaper solutions than me, or you'd be better doing this instead. And then there's clients where I've said, right, now we need to pare it back because I've done a lot of what you're ready to do, and let's look at this further down the line and things like that. And in a similar principle, I kind of see that as valuing my time over the money and valuing the impact I can make over just getting a return on it. And I think ultimately, very hard to change kind of the DNA of how you're wired and how you think and how you want to work. And for me, I spoke to a couple of people at one point and kind of said, I'm going to have this conversation and tell them I'm gonna do less work for them. And they're like, oh, you're mad. You're moaning that you got paid this month half the time to, not add enough value, and it must have been a relaxing month and what have you. I'm like, no, it's a stressful month for me, that, because it's winding me
It's
up.
actually a regular occurrence now with consultancy. Unfortunately, we're telling people to say a lot of no's as well as yeses. So we'd be hypocritical ourselves, just taking every piece of work going. If we're not able to make that big impact, or even small little chips of impact, we wouldn't be singing from the same hymn sheet. So
Yeah.
I think up to 20-25% of our work is no, we're not. I did a consult the other day on Zoom, and someone said, "Oh, can I speak to you from the van?" I said, "No, you can't." Like, as in, like driving the van, not like parked up. And I'm like, absolutely not. Like, it wasn't that important Zoom. I said, but you've got my full commitment for an hour to discuss this problem you've got, and I want you either the minimum pulled over, or I want you in front of a computer.
Not messing with your phone while you're trying to drive.
Yeah, and he was like, "All right, let's book it for next week."
Yeah.
Like, right, and that's as simple as it is, and that's not me being arrogant. In one way, I could have done with getting it done then, because time is money. But I wanted to give 100% commitment call, and it wasn't happening, and so I did the call the following week. It's as simple as that. He was all right. So cool. Well, we have a lovely. That isn't even a word. We have an updated website, cockerill.co.uk, and email is martyn@cockerill Co, and spelling is Martyn, not IN. That's right, isn't it?
My dad can't spell. Yeah.
Yeah. To spell it, but we'll put it in the show notes with all the links and everything. And this won't be the last podcast, and guarantee this. Yeah. But it's always good to get an update on the show. Well, welcome to the team, Martyn. It's
Thank you.
and if you listen to the show and you want to kick up the arse, one of us is more than happy to oblige. Thank you very much, mate.
Take care.